Hi, I'm Romona. I am from Ocean View and I have been a part of the Ocean View Can group. I haven't been involved since the beginning, nor have I actually been involved towards the end. There isn't really an end, but I've been involved at I would say, the center point of the pandemic um, during the first wave. And I got involved just by, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's luck, but somehow God or the universe steered me in that direction, and I was approached to be a part of this team, this amazing team that are still continuing to work and do amazing things in our community in Ocean View. Uh, when I first heard about COVID, it was like a twinkling of an eye. How things just happened. Like, it was 1 minute you hear there's this pandemic, the next minute everything is shut down completely. So from being an entrepreneur, I had an ECD center and I had no other option but to close. I'm not registered, so I couldn't even, there was no benefits to me or the staff in terms of any compensation. And so eventually I decided to stay closed, even after we decided to close the CCC, which I will talk about shortly, because it hit me so hard financially. So yeah, as I said, when we were told to close, it was like 1 minute there's COVID, next minute close down. And at the time, I needed something to distract me, and then somehow the opportunity to be part of the CARE network approached me. And I think it was a saving grace, because if I had been stuck and confined at home doing absolutely nothing, I mentally, psychologically, it would have hit me way harder than it has already impacted me and so many other people. So I joined a team that partnered up with our mosque, the Nurul Islamic Mosque, Ocean View and Simonstown. So what had happened is the mosque came up with this amazing idea, it started where they saw a need to feed in our community. So they ended up serving like over 8,000 meals. And then one of the members came up with the idea to map out throughout Ocean View different satellite feeding kitchens. So hence this amazing network was established. So everyone did their bit in terms of getting resources. The mosque did this brilliant job and such a compassionate deed, in that they used their resources and shared it with not just the Muslims but the Christian community as well. So it was a combination of our community being fed, and it was throughout Ocean View. And eventually so many other independent kitchens also got involved. And there's so many different feeding kitchens and organizations in our community that have done so much for this community, and they are still doing it, like not even taking any breaks, creating these amazing initiatives. So what we've basically been doing is, wherever you can add value, just do it. Through the work that we did, through the feeding kitchens, I met some amazing people. Care Company, Joffy Mills, who stepped in and assisted our community as well by introducing a document. So what I did was, like, my part in this whole structure was, I went to the soup kitchens and we had to do some surveys, and to ensure that the meals that were being made and fed to our community match at least a certain percentage of the vital food groups that's needed for daily requirements. So we had that too. We had support from the big food drive, as I mentioned, the mosque, who initiated the initial plan and used their own resources. We had our mentor, Yusha Davis, Earl Kluter. These are my colleagues, the other colleagues of mine that worked with me. And together we achieved such a lot. On behalf of myself, I can only speak for the CCC really, because the other individuals did much more work than I did, I would say. And they had more experience in this field because I was like the newbie. But I learned a lot through their teachings and through the experiences, and I got to meet a lot of amazing people in our community as well. And even from the top to around and to the bottom, we've got satellite feeding kitchens that are still continuing to do their work. They're still trying on their own, trying to get resources. But what this has taught me is you just need to find like-minded individuals. So if you actually work together, you can feed so many more people. And there was a point where we had over 50 satellite feeding kitchens. And I think that in itself is pretty amazing. And that's just from the group, the partnerships that we had formed. When we expanded or when we started working with other kitchens as well, or assisting where we could, and also together with the individual soup kitchens that we had, we were basically feeding the entire community, or at least those that were in need. Main focus was on our elderly and the children, which were mainly and severely impacted by this pandemic. But then there was also people like myself, anyone that was self-employed, that was living okay before, but now had to close down or reduce the amount of staff, and that hit almost everyone. So no one really knew the exact right thing to do, but just all knew we just had to do something. So the work is still continuing. I got involved with the Ocean View Community Care Center. My initial involvement was just to help in terms of the feeding for this project. EVS, which was also a very big help and a main resource to us to distribute the food that we were receiving and distributing it to our soup kitchens. So this was a EVS-led initiative by Ricochet van Rensburg, and then we also had Dr. Leanne Brady, who came up with the whole idea of having a CCC. Two amazing individuals. This project would never have come to fruition if it weren't for the two of them. Dr. Brady worked in Sierra Leone when it was the Ebola pandemic. So what she learned and experienced there, she brought over and shared with us and integrated the findings and experiences with us. And she provided training for our volunteers in terms of how to care for the COVID positive residents. So it was about in May I went to the first meeting. That wasn't the first meeting for the CCC, but it was one of the first meetings that I attended. And when I left that meeting, I was left with this burning desire to help more, because I knew that finding a venue would be hard because this was something new and unknown to so many people, and there was still a lot of stigma around. So yeah, I started helping Leanne, Rico, and I, and another one of our volunteers, Dion. Um, and so many more people tried finding a venue, and everyone was just rejecting, loving the idea but rejecting the project, because it would mean we'd have to set up in wherever the space would have been. I then decided to offer my home. So my parents live with me and my family, so they moved upstairs. I have a separate entrance, and my parents were living there. And then they moved up for like a month, and then a month later I had to ask them to move back down. So we were all living together. And this is the case in Ocean View, where we have a lot of backyard dwellers, we have a lot of large families and small households. That was a very, very big and still an issue in our community. So, and a lot of us live with our parents, or our parents live with us. So my thinking was, should one of my relatives, or should one of us get the virus in the house, then at least they'll be able to go to the center, or I would be able to go there and not, my parents wouldn't get infected. It was a way to protect my family as well. So yeah, and before we knew it, we were all together. We started with about 16 volunteers, which eventually went down to 6 volunteers when we opened and ran the actual CCC. But we can't discredit our 16 or the other volunteers that we started off with initially, because everybody wanted to be involved. But human nature, we all had that fear. I had the fear too, but I thought I have to put my fear aside and be brave here, because we need the help. And the idea behind it was to inspire other communities to do something similar. And we were the only CCC that was up and running and ran successfully. And yeah, it was just one of those amazing experiences. It wasn't an easy journey. There were some neighbors that weren't happy about it, and understandably so. As challenging as it was, this was an unknown territory to everybody, and it was scary, and no one really knew what to do. All we knew what to do was to apply what we were taught in terms of protecting ourselves and taking care of the COVID patients. So we eventually continued with our trainings. We got some resources, we got some funding as well. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough funding to continue and to keep the center open, and the idea was never for the center to remain here indefinitely. It was sort of to pilot and to appeal to government for a bigger space, and it was just not happening. We did this project without any government assistance, and people in the health department knew about it. It's just that I wouldn't say we were overlooked, but we weren't a top priority. And that was okay, because we still continued, and through it all we managed to help 3 residents in Ocean View, each with a unique case. Our very first resident contacted us on social media, one of the volunteers, and needed a place to isolate, living with 9 other siblings in a 1-bedroom flat. Obvious reason she would need a place to stay, and we were able to monitor her. So we were taught how to monitor SATs, monitor the oxygen levels, the heart rate, and also check the temperatures. We also provided meals, so all the meals, breakfast, lunch, supper. Um, Absolutely. So it was literally like a whole hotel accommodation, and just to make sure that the residents have a safe place to isolate, so that they don't spread the virus to their families. Another resident of ours, whose mom lives with her. Mom's over 80, and obviously she wouldn't want a mother infected. Um, and it was such a privilege and an honor to have helped one of another resident, and then we ended up with another resident. So we had two females at the same time, and we then our last resident was a male. Our setup was we had, as I mentioned, we had 6 volunteers. I tried to stay away from the center or the section that was being used as much as possible because it was ran from my house. The last person that needed to be infected would be me because then it would impact our entire operation to a certain extent. So we always had 2 volunteers on night shift duty. So we had 2 volunteers in one room, and then the residents would be in the other room. So we had live, active COVID positive patients in one room and our volunteers in the other room. And I think that in itself is pretty much amazing because they were brave enough and they put their own lives at risk, their families' lives at risk. But because we followed protocols, sanitized the place, did everything that we needed to do, we managed to successfully take care of the residents, which was top priority, and also ensure that neither one of us got the virus. And for the entire duration of this project, not a single one of us picked up the COVID virus. Initially, I thought it was a miracle, but just the discipline around what we were taught helped us manage what we needed to do. Our third resident had lost his wife a month before he had come to us, and has 2 young kids. And that one was very hard for me, especially because I am a parent, and any story I hear of, any child losing a parent, whether it's a mother or father, it's just hard for me to be, because like when I think about that, it just makes me teary-eyed. And up until today, I still don't see what the hype is about giving up my home to help residents in our community, because that's all that I just wanted to do. I just wanted to help. And when you realize where it actually hit me, in the sense of the impact and the value and the difference that we were making, is on the day that each resident left, when they thank you. Our community has just experienced so much trauma, and it is emotional for me because I'm a mother. We are faced with gang violence, with theft. Our ECD centers are in desperate need of help, and that is one of my missions for this year, is to make sure that we can protect our educators, because government has provided PPE and everything for our ECD centers, our schools, but not enough support was given to the ECD centers. And for the past 5 years, I've been studying various things, but I've discovered that, and it's scientifically proven that the first 7 years of a child's life is what defines him as being a person on this earth. So, with us losing all our ECD centers, closing down because of finances, what's going to happen to our children? So, they're roaming the streets, there's abuse, so much abuse. And it's not the fault of the children. The kids are losing their parents. The grandparents are looking after their children. The grandparents should be living in peace and enjoying their retirement, but they end up looking after their kids' kids because their kids have been murdered, or they may be on drugs, or they, whatever reason. So we need to do something. And I'm very passionate and emotional about it. I'm sorry. Because we have to do something. It's not fair on our children, and it's not fair on elderly. And I believe that if we work together, we can help so much more. So COVID has been both traumatic, not just for me, but for everyone. And it's been a blessing and both a curse. It's opened my eyes to a lot of things in life. But if there's one thing that I know is that we need to do something, whether it's just check on your neighbor, or just call up a relative or a friend and check up on them. There's so many things that have been impacted. And I'm saying, if you know a way to help someone else, just do it. We're losing people that are really close to us. We need to do something. We need to educate each other. We need to help each other. We need to be kinder to each other. We need to fight for each other, not against each other. And I believe that we can do that if we stand together and fight for the right reasons. Because it seems like society has just accepted the bad as good and the good as bad. So yeah, that is just a little bit of my journey. And there's so many other people that are impacted, but there are so many good people out there in our community. Our mosque team, our mentor and his wife, our football association, we've got Pastor Dimitri, we've got groundbreakers, we've got breaking barriers. We've had support from our neighboring community, Komakikan. We've worked with radio, with people in Massey. So we've all interlinked and come together and just made this enormous impact on such a short period of time. So if we continue this positive energy moving into a positive flow and a positive state, there's so much more that we can achieve. The experience of the CCC, as I mentioned earlier on, not everyone was happy about it in our community. Not everyone supported, but not everyone was against it either. If anything, I think it was more neighbors who lived closer to me that were worried about contracting the virus. And that's also understandable. Look, it was the first wave of a pandemic, and people, no one really knew what to think. We just did what was scientifically and medically proven to be the right thing to do. But amidst the challenges, it was all worth it in the end because, as I mentioned, we could have 3 residents. We got youth involved. We all got educated. We learned a lot of new things. We met a lot of new people. We we just a whole diverse group of people that came together to just create this, bring forth this amazing project. And we would never have been able to do it without the help of our existing leaders. Um, so, like, I would not have been able to go to this first meeting for the CCC if I didn't have the relationship with the mosque, because the mosque supported us in terms of the food. Um, the Ocean View Can Group supported us as well with food. EBS supported us with collecting and distributing, not just for the CCC, but as I mentioned, distributing the food to the soup kitchens as well. We've had help from the Nuatu Can as well. We've had Komiki Can has also played a large role. Cape Town Together as well. We've received support from people that I don't even know. Some people I haven't even met. But you just see how a stranger is like perfect strangers. We don't know each other from above, so, but because we have like-minded visions and goals, we just clicked and connected like that. And we even our ward councillor as well got involved with getting assistance and helping with food towards this project too. So there's a lot of people involved, and amidst the challenges, as I mentioned, we still continued because yes, we have disagreements, but we still need to continue what needs to be done. And there's so much more that needs to be done. And it was, for me, this has been both an honor as a blessing, as I mentioned, to have been a part of this amazing project, this amazing team, and just the entire experience. And we can, for me, it's given me a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, friendships, just changed my life completely. Not financially, but rich in, I can't even describe it. It's just when someone is grateful to you, you feel that gratitude. And for me, that was the biggest and the best part. Like, that's all I need. I don't need you to give me anything, just a thank you. So yeah, I'm just thankful and grateful to have been a part of the experience, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this project as well. I'm sorry for crying. As I said, my heart is here. I get very emotional about things that I'm passionate about, so I look forward to what will happen in the future, and to working with whoever wants to help make an impact. So thank you for this amazing opportunity and for listening. I could speak on for hours about this. And for now, we just continue what we're doing and we start new things. A large focus of 2021 for me is education. So that is my mission for 2021, is to help our ECD centers, not just in Ocean View, but to help the entire Western Cape and eventually spread out to the entire South Africa. Because our education system really needs to be jacked up. And I just want to share what I've learned with others so that they can also prosper. I haven't reached my target or my goal yet, but I'm getting there. And I think that it's such a waste when you have so much knowledge not to share with others, because there is enough abundance for everyone. Um, so I look forward to this new year amidst the challenges, amidst COVID. Um, we can do anything, absolutely anything. We can make any kind of difference. Um, just start, even if you're not ready, just start before you're ready, and everything will just eventually fall into place. So thank you for the time, um, once again, and stay blessed, stay safe. Please follow protocols, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, social distance, um, protect yourself. If not for yourself, protect yourself for your loved ones, your parents, your families, um, the children as well. Just because a child is younger, um, doesn't mean that they can't get COVID, and it doesn't mean that it won't impact their lives. So let's protect our children as well. So stay blessed, stay safe, and let's take on 2021 on a positive note and use what we've experienced and learned in 2020, and just grow and move forward, and just not give up on doing what's good. We need more people, more good people doing more good, so that we can have a ripple effect. Thank you so much.